Okay, our Coors Light pole winner for Sunday's 18th annual Sylvania 300 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway is Brad Keselowski, and he drives the number 2 Miller Lite Ford for Team Penske. And this is Brad's 5th pole in 2014, his 8th pole in his career. This is the 19th track qualifying record this season in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. This is the 8th track qualifying record for Ford in 2014. And it's the 4th time that Brad Keselowski has set a qualifying record this year. He's done it at Phoenix, Dover, Kentucky, and now New Hampshire. So congratulations, Brad. You just
What were the tracks again?
Phoenix, Dover, Kentucky, and New Hampshire.
Okay, all right.
And you keep rolling. And just talk about coming off that Chicago win and now here at New Hampshire. You said last Sunday you weren't going to let up, and certainly it doesn't look like you have.
No, I think Paul and the team brought a great car here, much like what we had in the spring race. I say spring race, I guess it was in June or July, so the earlier race. And I think the cooler temperatures and all those things, that's why you're seeing the increase in speeds. And certainly the guys have, worked on horsepower and all those other things. But cars are really good. This kind of track is kind of right in my wheelhouse, right in our team's wheelhouse. We had this race circled before the chase started. And we felt decent about Chicago, but really felt like this was a race of emphasis for us to get a win and get out of the first bracket. And, with last week considered, it's in an even stronger position for us to be pushing hard. So, it's good, right? We just want to keep it going.
Questions for Brad? Mike Hembry has one right there.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. Are you ready just to say the chase is over and it's pretty much a lock for you? I mean,
No.
Nobody's caught you at all so far.
Yeah, I mean, we're so early in this thing, and the resets, with the resets that there are, the success of today really means nothing come Homestead, and each bracket with each reset, it looks like an NCAA bracket, and in that sense, to compare it, it'd be like, if a great NCAA team beat a lower ranked team, it doesn't really matter for when you get to the next round. It's great. It's positive momentum. It's everything you want to do and think you should do. But when it resets, and nothing that you've done in the past really matters as long as you're eligible for the bracket. So, I'm a long ways from using the word favorite or feeling overly confident.
Other questions? Anybody? Lee? And then Nate.
You said something interesting on TV this week. You didn't say you'd be disappointed if you didn't win the championship. You said you would be devastated. And
that was if I didn't win another one in my career.
Right. I mean, not just this one in particular, but you don't want to be a one-title wonder. And just talk about why it's so important that you separate yourself from these guys that have just won one championship.
Sure. Well, I wrote a nice blog about it too, in case you wanted a really in-depth answer, because I knew somebody would ask me that. And when I get up here on the media stand, I always go, and it's hard to answer without really sitting down and putting a lot of thought to it. But kind of long story short, I feel like what we've been able to do to date is incredible, and I'm very proud of it. But kind of 2012 was such a blur for me. It almost feels more like a dream. I feel like winning a second title would feel real. And it could eliminate, any doubts that I would have or anyone else would have for the remainder of my career, which would be incredible. And to go with that, I think I have an incredible opportunity with some amazing people working on my team and the cars and whatnot. And, you know, I want to make the most of that. I don't want to waste the opportunity. It's probably my number one pet peeve in life is people that waste their opportunity. And I have a phenomenal opportunity. If I could add a couple more adjectives to that, I would. But it's beyond a phenomenal opportunity. I don't want to waste it. I want to make the most of it. And this is our opportunity to strike.
Nate?
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. I got something else to ask you about, but I want to follow up on that. Who are these, because I did read that blog, who are the people that you're trying to prove this to? Are they peers, or is it just fans that you feel like who have said that your first championship were a fluke, was a fluke?
Well, I mean, there's always yourself, right, which is the most important thing. You know, there's the people that I work with, right? And then there's your peers, and certainly the fan base is a part of it too. I think it's anyone and everyone, right? But at the end, it's ultimately yourself. You know, and I feel like winning a first championship, like I said, almost feels more like a dream than a reality, and I feel like a second one would feel like a reality. And it reminds me of a quote that Mark Martin had about winning his first race when he was in Victor Lane. And, you know, I don't know it verbatim, but he said that, you know, his first win was great. And this is in Victor Lane, but winning a second race would be a much more significant achievement because of what it means to you personally and what it means to everyone else, that no one can ever sit back and say, well, you know, on that day or on that year, things just all fell your way when you've won more than once.
Second thing, how good is your car in relation to where you were in July? Are you still feel like you're another zip code on the field? And
I don't know. I'm going to get in tomorrow. We haven't done anything in race trim, but we felt like last, again, spring, our car was not where we wanted it to be in qualifying trim. And we felt like that kind of handicapped us in the race and made us have to drive through the field a couple times, whether it was the start of the race or through the pit cycles because of pit stall location. And we put an extra emphasis on it today, and it's great to see us get rewarded for that. But the cost for that is to not have a great read for where we are at in race trim, and we'll just work on that tomorrow.
Let's go to Rick and then to Mike.
Brad, you spoke a little this morning about how winning in Chicago sort of changed the way you can approach these 2 weeks. How much can you afford to take a chance on Sunday in a way that you might not have had you not had that win?
Well, you know, that's certainly a very common question, and my first thought to that is, you know, the last thing I want to do is go out there and wreck somebody for a win, and you know, the win would mean something, don't get me wrong, but in the sense of the championship, it would mean nothing. And know that there's probably somewhere down the road where you'll have to pay for that. So in that sense, you know, you want to be respectful, right? I think more or less the opportunities or the doors that are opened up with having a first win and being locked into the next round, and, you know, these 2 races still, you know, notwithstanding, I think those opportunities are in, you know, reliability and strategy, and that's probably all.
Mike?
Despite the resets you mentioned and the fact the chase is set up to be kept close, if you win this week and or next week, is there a certain intimidation factor for everybody else?
No, I don't think so. I put myself in everyone else's shoes, and if I was everybody else, I'd say I just want my cars to be fast for the last 4 races, because that's when speed enters the equation. You know, the first 3 races are consistency, and the second 3 races are survival. The 3 races in the third bracket, was at the eliminator bracket, those are going to be speed races. And then the fourth race is going to be, you know, you're going to have to be fast at Homestead, but you're going to have to be clutch. You know, no mistakes, and rise up to the opportunity under high pressure. So in that sense, you know, we have a lot of speed and we're executing very well, but, you know, I wouldn't be intimidated personally, but I can't speak for everyone else.
Any additional questions? Lee?
You sometimes just have to pinch yourself because you know, we've gone through stages where Jimmy Johnson and Chad have come in, they've led all practices, they've led all qualifying, they go and they, win the race, and, people are saying, we don't think we have anything for the 2, and Denny was asked earlier, and they said, do you think you'll ever have a car like you had the time here when you're so dialed in, and he said something to the effect where I think the 2 stole it, or, something to that nature, but you just kind of, you said before you're like living in a dream. Does it still feel that way? I mean, you just seem to be clicking on
Well, the great weekends seem to go by like a dream really fast, and you can't get enough of them, right? And that's a good thing. I know they spoil you, that's for sure. And you look at weekends where everything goes right, like Richmond was that scenario. I think Kentucky was that way. And you think to yourself, well, we should do this every weekend. And if you have the smallest hiccup in the weekend's proceeding, that you start to question everything. So, in some ways, they're really dangerous. But when you get them, you have to be thankful for them and make the most of them. And we've been able to do that so far this year, and I hope we can continue to do so.
Brad, again, congratulations, and appreciate you coming in, and good luck this weekend.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.